Nityanandam Paramasukaram Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sarisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunaraitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Namaskaram, everyone. Welcome to Hinduism Now Global Press Live, continuing our podcast series of Hindus talking about Hindumisia. And today we're very pleased finally to have arranged a time to have Sri Karan Vir Ji join us today and share some of his experiences. And we've had a little bit of discussion. We're going to jump right into it. And Aya, if you just take a moment, briefly introduce yourself and anything you'd like to share initially, please. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, Srinitya. My name is Karan Vir Ji, and I'm a CEO. I'm the CEO of Vimanika Comics, which is the first award-winning Indian comics company initiated and launched 15 years ago. In fact, this April we will be celebrating 15th year anniversary coming up. And I also run a hotel, which is a family business hotel by the name of Kara Hotel. So I'm running there as a CEO. And I'm also a published author, where I have published my book on Karna, which is under the title name of The Sixth, The Legend of Karna. It's a trilogy, or it's a three-part series on Karna and his perspective on Mahabharata and his life, and his 14-year life, in fact, which was never recorded as a king of Angadesh in Magadha. And that has a twist in it, interesting contemporary twist of having two stories running parallel to each other. One is in the past and one is in the present. So there is a sense of mystery, thriller, and adventure, and the whole epic unravels in each part. So that, and then of course I'm a motivational speaker also and an award-winning CEO. I have been honored to speak on the TEDx stage, a few years ago in India, and I've done motivational talks and trainings for hotels, and also I'm a cryptocurrency enthusiast, and investor. So I do a lot of things. I'm also a fitness, enthusiast, and I've been working out many years. So I believe in keeping your mind, your body healthy, so your mind follows. But that's the first start, I believe. So with that, right, my passion and my objective in life is to spread the Sanatan Dharma and our ancient roots of our rich culture, not only in India, which is very uninitiated right now in today's country, which I believe is not the true India that existed thousands of years ago, and or which could become by learning from what we had propagated, and the advanced technology and the education system that we had. But around the world also, I would like to share this knowledge and spread it through comics and graphic novels and various contemporary pop culture merchandise, from statues to action figurines to digital paintings, and NFTs. We've become the first company and the first creative company in India to launch our graphics our illustrations and our comic illustrations, sequential pages on OpenSea, which is the largest NFT platform in the world. So NFT is actually short term for non-fungible tokens. So it's a digital asset basically. So um, if we have this is what it is about me, where I come from. We also the first company to associate sponsor Comic Con India, which was the largest pop culture convention, which is in fact in India. And so mm, uh, this is what it is. But my passion and my you could say, I would not call it a hobby, but passion is ancient history, uh, our culture, and our the Vedas and the Shastras that existed thousands of years ago, to propagate those and those education through graphics, so that more people can be, and more youngsters can, the Z generation can be attracted to it through video games, through merchandise, and through amusement parks, anything that can get them close, you know, to think about it also, or to question it also, is what my objective is. Finally, of course, my ultimate goal is to see Karna, which is my novel, on silver screen, as a full-blown action feature film, just something like Bahubali, So that's what my dream is. And for many years, this is what we've been talking to a lot of production houses. We've been trying to connect with the right one, so that we can uh, get started and execute this correctly. Because very important is to the execution is very important, So yeah, that's about. I also do documentaries. I run a show on Vimanikopedia channel on YouTube, which talks about many subjects related to our ancient um, rich culture, like Pushpak Vimanas, like Kailasha temples, like Ram Setu, where I talk about Shri Ram Setu, and uh, mm, how it's something that existed, which is not something that is geographically fragmented bridge, but it's actually man-made thousands of years ago, maybe even lakhs, and according to the carbon dating. So I start, proving it in my documentary through satellite photography, carbon dating, evidences, citations that I give out in that 5-10 minutes documentary. And I've also started a campaign on change.org to make Ram Setu recognizes as the eighth wonder of the world, and we need as many signs as we can get, through that campaign. So would support your would appreciate everyone's support to sign that campaign, So right, this is about me, in short, which was very long, So so you can ask me anything you want, or you want to know, if you feel like.
Great. Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's obviously, there's so many different aspects there. And that's what is, it's very interesting, inspiring to, learn about, where you've been and what you've been involved in, and your developments. And, you shared about your perspectives in your book about Karna the Sixth, and how you have two running streams of someone looking into the past and reviewing the past, and then sort of presenting the actual life of Karna as, in itself, as well as how it's viewed from the sort of protagonist perspective. But yeah, and I actually would ask you one other certain point. Actually, we've been speaking a few moments already about, a lot of the things that Hinduism is facing today, even the general acknowledgement of Hindu history, and of course, young people and how to engage, and even the struggle just to bring the basic facts of what an intense struggle it is just to have the basic facts or history of Hinduism not completely denied, and all these kind of things. And so yeah, any of those kind of things you specifically feel is pertinent. Otherwise, I would ask, you used the word, I used the word execution when you were speaking about the vision you have for the Karna version of Bahubali. And not that I want to pull you too far off of anything, but if you wanted to share something about what execution means to you, or even in that, even in that terminology, or how you see it as necessary, if there's anything you wanted to share about that.
You've asked me something that is really hit the bill here, because I'm very passionate about Karna, and that's the reason why I started Vimanika. Was for Karna, and later on, of course, it became passion for all the other epics and legends that we have. But Karna as a whole is my life from childhood, and I've had dreams of Karna when I was 12 years old, talking to me, so psychologically I'm very zonked with this whole maybe I'm obsessed with this whole god character, this immortal being from the past. And maybe I don't know what it was, but maybe he was calling out to me through my dreams to pass on the message. Maybe, I don't know, it sounds crazy, but this is what I wanted to do after I got to know, and I spoke about it to my mother when I was just 15, 16, and she said, write about it. And I was doing various jobs at that time. I started working when I was 15, 16. Started doing marketing, and I used to do door-to-door selling. I've really struggled my life, as many people do. But I come from an affluent background, and still I had to struggle because of many reasons, personal and family reasons. But basically, because of that, I learned what Karna actually had to go through. And that was just a small fragment of what he achieved in his life. So I always say in my stage talks that Karna is something like a self-made millionaire or a billionaire in his own times, from someone who was a Sutaputra, who was just a charioteer's son. From there, he reached a level of king of Angadesh. At that time, the capital of Magadha is just unbelievable, and reached such pivotal role in Mahabharata, where where many Kshatriyas feared him. In fact, many. In fact, Sri Krishna himself was a great believer and a fan of Karna himself. He knew his potential because he knew the truth. Not only that, he knew who he was and what talent and skill he, had acquired over his years of hardships and discrimination that he went through. So in today's time, the common man goes through that. They don't have opportunities. So I said that, if Karna could do it, then a lot of people can be motivated and inspired by the character and the personality he was, because he came from nothing, from being an abandoned child in the river Ganges to being adopted by a charioteer's family, and then being raised as a poor person who was not encouraged to use a bow or any kind of weapon, and who was always encouraged to just ride a chariot instead of driving one. And he was the only one who questioned at that age, when he was just maybe 10, 12 years, that I want to drive a chariot. I don't want to ride. I want to actually be the king who I am, and be the warrior, and fulfill my prophecy, and use my skills and defend people. And why? He was the one at that time, thousands of years ago, asking why. Why can't I do that? And asking questions, and defying the stereotypical thought process of what a chariot is supposed to do, and what a certain caste, or I would not say caste, because caste never existed. It was merits that it existed that time. So according to the merits, so he achieved that merit, and he achieved that success, and well, even though that kind of category was given to him, I wouldn't say caste, but that category of Sutaputra was given to him, where he was supposed to do that kind of work according to his background. Uh, the merit, the freedom that he had at that time to achieve, that freedom was also given to achieve what he wanted to become. Even though it was tough, he got the support, and he got the support from totally unknown person, like an unexpected person, like the Raja, the Prince Duryodhan at that time. And he became his best friend for life. And he exemplified and gave an example of not being a warrior only, but also becoming one of the most generous people in the world, and a true friend. So you see, this is something that really motivated me. And the reason why I wanted to show it like Bahubali is because before Bahubali, uh, when I launched this company, before that only I wanted to do something in terms of movies. But I saw that in Bollywood, making a movie is not going to be easy at all. Apart from the funds, the massive funds you need experience, and you need to copyright your story. Otherwise, it's going to get stolen by a drop of a dime as you enter. And that time the copyright laws were not that strong themselves. So I had to basically I would say should say um, think about it beforehand. So what I did was, I thought that if I just come out with a story, publish it, so it'll be a sort of copyright also, and I'll of course copyright the story. And so I started that process, and I will also get a feedback from the market, how they feel about the concept. So I got a very good feedback. People loved it, critically acclaimed, award winning. I said I need to continue it, and that's how I got into writing the book from the comic books. And the book has also been loved by a lot of people. Many people are waiting for the part two. So I want to make something like this, where you have best of both worlds, where you have the presentation of today's Western culture, the way they present, the way they present the West in today's time. That's the kind of presentation I want to bring in, but I want to bring in with the richness of our culture. you know so the content, the storytelling, the narrative, the perspective has to be the ancient Indian perspective, but the presentation has to be Western. So you bring in the balance of both, the graphics, the CGI, the technology that's there in today's time coming from the West. That should be used, because we should use the best of whatever we have. And you know so that many people can be attracted towards it, like how they were for Bahubali. you know Bahubali got that, especially part 2 got that kind of attention, is because, again, Mr. Rajamouli saw that if he uses this technology correctly and executes it, like I use the word execution, correctly, then this will be more than a hit, and which it was a massive hit. It was very relatable. See, it has to be globally relatable. So it has to be a balance. So it's a very thin line they are walking in, and especially now they were relating to something which was part fiction, maybe something that is mythical in its own way, but it was not true as true in the, maybe even though the kingdoms were true, but the characters weren't exactly. But the concept, the mindset behind it was genuine. And but in terms of Karna, I have to be very true to it, because it's absolutely factual. There was a person like that, a personality like that existed. So I got to get it right, and it's a huge responsibility, and hence the time has been taking for the right production house to join hands with us, because we want the right production team, the right directors to be connected and to who can execute this, and um, right technology teams, so that they understand the mindset. And of course they should include me in the team as a creative, the creator, so that my creatives are respected and also heard. You should not be like, okay, um, wham bam, thank you ma'am, like, okay, you've done your stuff and you just go, that's it, and you're done with it, so please move ahead. It shouldn't be like this, that okay, you sold us the concept and now it's our business, what do we do? So that's one of the reasons I have rejected a lot of offers on the table with a lot of production houses, because I was very critical, that I wanted to be involved, and I wanted it to have some creative control, so that we don't mess up. It's a responsibility. We shouldn't mess up our history, which is our true history, ancient history, just because of uh, commercializing it. You can still commercialize it like Bahubali did, but they kept true to whatever fragments of history they were trying to portray, and they did that well. They only enhanced it, and that's what I want to do. If I want to do, I want to improvise it, enhance it, but I don't want to degrade or deglorify the ancient culture. That's the what I meant by the execution part of it, when it comes to uh, there are a lot of visualizations, Srinitya, and it can take me hours just to explain that. But whenever
Mm,
I go about doing narration to directors and production producers, I take hours and I get very excited, because
mm,
I believe that I'm living in that time when Karna existed, and I go back in that time. I'm an old soul. I go back in
mm,
that time, and I can personally see him, you know, and I visualize him like he's part of me. And from running to fighting to everything is his perspective. Sometimes I see him as a third person, sometimes as the first person. So, there are a lot of angles that I go at, and I can feel his emotions. I even visualized how he looks. That's how we got him on the graphics. So that's another thing, that to get the right actors who can execute it. Because nowadays what happens, Bollywood comes in, and then they just because they've got the money in the production house, they say, okay, we're throwing in the money, okay, take our son as Karna. And the son has nothing to do with Karna. I mean, he doesn't look near to the personality, forget the face. And then I have to adjust, because okay, this gentleman has put in the money. So that's the last thing that I want. So having the right director who understands my vision is what will get going the whole concept to another level. Like Karna was, for example, Karna was the master of I would say a Yoda, who was a master of Kalaripaitu, which he had learnt uh, over the painful years with Lord Parshurama, Sri Parshurama, and God himself. And he had practice, and he become an expert at Kalaripaitu. And he knew, they say he knew two martial arts, but I believe he knew all the 137 forms of Kalaripaitu. Okay, and including the usation of Urumi, the blade that he uses. So I have a lot of scenes and sequences where he uses and executes Urumi, and he was an expert at it. So you see, showing him as a genuine fighter, a warrior, and of a martial arts, which is again the father of all martial arts. Speaking in Pali, the language of Angadesh at that time, and fighting, like that is something that's out of this world. And I want to make it as authentic as that time, but with the contemporariness, so that the youngsters can connect with that language, connect with that style, connect with the action scenes, and the body, the structure. He should be people like Bahubali. When you look at Prabhas, you can visualize that Prabhas can enamor, or can embody that personality of character that was shown, the Bahubali, and when if you showed the villain, Dagupati, he embodied that villain also, so basically, the whole structure, the demographic of the personality has to come out. Because it makes a big difference. Small things like that go a long way. So it's not only the cast, it is the script, the screenwriting, the direction, of course, and the CGI work that will go, in it. So I've visualized each scene. I've written it down, I've visualized it. And if you read my book, you will be reading, it'll look more like you're reading a cinematic, a film. You're watching a film actually, rather than reading a book. It's more cinematic. I've defined action scenes in that book. I've defined a lot of things. So I'm very excited. For this whole thing to materialize in my lifetime. If my karma is good and Mahadev's blessings, so that would be my lifelong dream. So this is about it.
Right. Yeah, that's great. So that's awesome. So you expounded on a lot of parts where it does give a lot of perspective of that, like, because obviously there's there's many, that's what the execution, right? There's many components to it.
Yes.
And if it comes down to, right, this is the exact, few second frame, and then, you link a few second frames together, you come out with a minute, how each few seconds is represented is, that's what goes into creating this minute. And that 1 minute is what, the 1 minute upon 1 minute makes up the, the entire, right?
Absolutely right. Exactly. You're on.
Yeah.
So Hollywood is a very good example, because the way they execute their superheroes movies. When I used to watch that, I used to feel that the reason why our gods and goddesses and our warriors are not relatable is because we're missing some part of presentation. We're not getting the presentation right. If we make them all in our presentation, like cheapos, in the sense, like, we show them like, what is it, it's a cheap presentation. We've not put in the money, we've not put in the funds, and we just sing as commerciality and put an item song. It makes no sense. There's no respect to the divinity. There's no respect to your ancient culture. That's very, very, for me, that was very, very important, to present it correctly. And through the book, you can also learn about your culture. Like, there were 16 Mahajanapadas in Magadha, and Magadha was the second richest and the most powerful after Hastinapur, kingdom. And who was Jarasandha? So you introduce, you establish the characters, so that people learn, and they sort of respect, like, how many years did Karan actually live? People even don't know that, and how many wives did he have? Okay, example. And how many kids did he have? See, this is not something that you will get inspired by, but you should know the truth as a whole, and you should basically see that, okay, this Surya Putra Karan, what is his last birth's connection? What is his karmic connection? And apart from the martial arts, what's the kind of astras he used, the brahmastras that we use, the nuclear weapons that we actually used? They were actually used there. And it was the most bloodiest war in the ancient history. Forget ancient history, in today's time also. In the world, there's never been a bloodiest war, bigger and larger than the Mahabharata. If you come to think of it, 18 days, no war has ever lasted that long. And actual war, I'm not talking about Cold War, actual war. And you have about 50 lakh casualties. The kind of casualties, that is humongous. And people from all around the world are participating in this war. People from Greece have come down, all around the world, China, everyone, everywhere, being part of the Mahabharata, because India was the pinnacle of the world at that time. It was, as you say, the Hanuman of that time. And like the Hanuman today is United States of America. It's been blessed of being the powerful nation of today's times, even though it's getting overtaken very soon by another nation. But the frank part is this, that the fact is this, that India was, and many continents, I would say, forget countries, were under the ice that time. When I would not say country, but the subcontinent, uh, uh, as they say, existed that time, the Bharat, and bigger than Bharat subcontinent that existed that time. It was massive. It was a Jwadeep, and it's part of other continents also, which were geographically connected. But then again, see, that geography part comes in it, because geographically a lot of other continents which was floated away from, detached and floated away over the times because of the great floods that used to come every 20,000 years. The ice age, the melting of the ice caps. So we come from going back thousands of years, because we have Lord Indra fighting the Viritra, and you could actually see it as him fighting a massive serpent in a mountain, or you could also see it as fighting a massive ice cap, or a ice mountain, which looks like a serpent, or ice rolled around a mountain which is again symbolic to the floods. Before the floods took place, everything was iced up. So maybe it could be anything, that what Lord Indra did was the rain coming down, and it could be anything. But the fact is this, that the things like this have been written in the Vedas and our Shastras. So, all these things, have been written. So it means we are very, very ancient. We are very old. The Vedas have been written thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, by the gods, and geographically speaking, astronomically, astrologically, all the proofs are given. If you decipher the Rig Veda, all the proofs are given, and there itself you'll be able to decipher and translate it, that it is thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. It's not written like, as they say in the West, just 1500 BC, but it's not 1200 BC or 1500 BC as per their concept, because they want to bring everything before the great floods. It can't be before that. It has to be after that. It can't be before. So our Harappan civilization is older than the great floods. So forget everything else. Pre-Harappan times are so many years before that. Also, we were so advanced, and Harappan civilization was the peak of advancement and technology. The Indus Valley, the kind of mats and the architecture, and the science that existed then is unbelievable. Like people say around the world that India, invented Shunya, the concept of Shunya, zero. But I say we invented mats. We invented Vedic mats, and Vedic mats. From Vedic mats, the mats has come, and it was called Sulva Sutras, and that was the Sutra period in Harappan civilization before the Brahmana period. So Sulba Sutras was the ancient mats. We invented the whole mats. Geometry has been taken from us. The what you call the trigonometry and the geometry, which other countries and civilizations proclaim that they have invented. I don't know what's that. Which is that ancient philosopher who invented, they say, the geometry or the trigonometry? I don't algorithms.
Pythagoras, probably the Pythagoras.
Right. So he's taking it from here. The inspiration has come from here. The Pythagoras has come from here. And the pyramids concept also has come from our concept of where we have the Havans, the Havan Kunds that we have. They have taken that concept from the stupas, that they use the pyramid because it flattens on top. That also has been taken from here, from our Havans and our Yagyas. So we are not only like, there are logic to it. There's logics to it. Whatever, there's science to it. Logics. If there were Pushpak Vimans, there's science to how they used to fly. There were engines. There were Mercury engines, reverse engines. Everything existed. And we used to fly from planet to planet. Forget your own country. We used to fly planet, and that's how we knew planets. We knew the grahas. Why do we talk about in astrology? Because navgrahas we know, because we knew about the 9 planets before anyone else knew. We knew about the whole cosmos. It's just that lakhs and lakhs of books have been burnt over the years. Are from a Nalanda example, like in the Nalanda University. Sorry, like that. So many universities have been burnt down. Vikramshila, Nalanda, so many ancient. So all the books, all the scriptures have been burnt, but still, so many texts still exist. We are the only civilization in the world which have written texts proving our ancient evidence and provenance. And we've written on leaves, and with the language so archaic. Today's time also, people cannot translate the archaic Sanskrit that existed then, like Ved Vyas and the Vyasas, which have narrated and written over the years, have written Mahabharata and Ramayana. I mean, Mahabharata itself is twice the size of Odyssey and Iliad. So it's massive, massive, concepts. Lanka itself, if you say, the Sri Lanka existed, and it has been submerged today. 90% of all our ancient history has been inundated. All our ancient monuments and ruins are inundated. And nobody in India, the government especially, being Congress, was never interested in digging it up. They were not interested in, oceanography and ocean archaeology, marine archaeology, to go and understand what is below. Other countries, in Malta, for example, in Malta, they have the whole ancient civilization of Malta down below. They go, and the government allows people to dive down. Yeah, they don't even allow. There was Mr. Graham Hancock who had come, and he's written in his book that Congress did not allow. They shut down the all operations. His all operations, when he wanted to discover more about the Mahabalipuram, the ancient ruins of Mahabali, King Mahabali, below, down in Mahabalipuram. So he had reached that conclusion that it is 5,000 to 10,000 years older than the Egyptian civilization. So, imagine what else he could find if he had just basically been given the permission. So Congress has really stolen that part of our ancient culture. It's a sin, what they have done. It's a sin. And they've been, and they talk about secularism. In fact, today, all castes and creeds are staying peacefully in our country is because of secularism, because Hindus are secular. That's the whole concept. We are the true seculars, actually. We are not fanatics. We are not communists. We are a secular people, because Hinduism is pluralistic. It accepts everything, but knows they believe in having 36 crore gods. We believe, and we have the freedom of choosing the god that we want, and we can even debate on gods. We can even, okay, some places people talk bad about the gods. The freedom is being given. Nobody is an authority here or authoritarian to say that, okay, I run the country, you'll have to go as per my rules. You can't talk about this, talk about that. No one rules India. No one owns Hinduism. See, that is the quality of our culture, which is totally misunderstood. That's why we, as you say, we have to fight tooth and nails to basically convince people that there was someone called Ram that existed. Forget anything else. We just stuck with Ram till now, and that's why it irritates me more. And that's the reason why I came up with that campaign, and I'm pushing it forward with documentaries. Sorry. And that's why I like to come on shows like yours, interviews where, I can give my 2 cents and share whatever I have learned over the years. so that if one person also gets inspired and does something, makes a big difference. If you look at, okay, I'm not talking about political, but I'm not a BJP supporter. But if you look at Modi ji, is one person, okay, but he's got that concept all over all the world, and he's made everyone proud outside, us proud, of who we are. We're proud of who we are, and I believe that's the whole objective. You got to, people in India, especially Indians, have to be proud of their identity, their roots, not be prideful, not be like having a pride is good thing, but you don't need to be like egoistic proud, like, okay, you're putting down other people, but have pride where you come from. But only way you can have that is when you know where you come from. People don't even know where they come from. In India, they don't even know this. They're so stupid. I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but everyone is so, they've been so whitewashed, and they've become so ignorantly stupid. They think that they're smart. They're entitled to their facts. Exactly what I was saying in social media. Everyone thinks that they're entitled to their facts because of misinformation. There's so much of programming going on from different countries to destabilize a certain country. Like, for example, Facebook is a weapon to destabilize countries. You don't need any nuclear weapons. You just need a Facebook. You through misinformation, you can make believe a certain concept, to a youth, and he can start believing anything and say anything, and start acting on it. That's a funny part. That's the reason why all these things happen. Shootings happen in America, United States, all these, school shootings, is that it's just lone wolf thinking like this. Okay, misinformation. Okay, this is there, that is there, that's happening. But nothing is happening really. In true life, it's all, this programming, the anxiety that is created in today's youth by this programming. This will happen, that, like, by fear, So what we need to do is not fear. We need to pass on the knowledge and give security to the youth, that, you don't need to really get misinformed and misdirected. You need to be rightly reading the right books, going back to the books. That's why I love it when you go back to the basics. Books, I've never stopped reading books. I read books every day. Every day, half an hour I have to read every day. And I read like five books simultaneously. Every day there's a new book that I'm reading, which is balanced with the ancient history about our temples, about our ancient culture, the Rig Veda, understanding it, and then of course motivational books also. So you got to educate yourself with the right knowledge, because in Facebook, that is not the source of knowledge. Google is not the source of knowledge. People are it's a Google is more like it is an encyclopedia. It is an encyclopedia, but you got to find the right page, and to find the right page, you got to know which page that is. Now see, if you don't know the topic, if you're not educated correctly, you won't be able to source that information out from Google. Google is just an encyclopedia where they have collectively codified and organized massive source of pages and pages of billions and billions of pages of information to the public to search for what they want to search. But if they don't know what to search for, then anything they're given, they will eat. So to eat the right food, you need to search the right. Otherwise, you go today on the net, you will be confused. Every day they'll say this food is good for you, then orange juice is good for you, then milkshake is good for you, then everything. Now there's so many things good for you. Now you're not going to have everything and shove it down your throat. You will just you might just faint. You might just be hospitalized. Who knows? Because it's not everything that good is good for you. Everybody is different. So a standard yardstick cannot be used for each body and mind. Same way, the mind is the same. Every mind is different. You need to feed it. You need to feed your mind with the right information. And for that, you need to know. So you need to know it through books, I believe. Books are the first and the best source to get original information written by the authors who are basically, having a credibility, and who talk logic, who have citations, sources, and evidences of what they're talking. It's all about common sense. So, for example, if you pick up a book on Aryan invasion, the origins of Aryans by Dr. David Frawley and N.S. Rajaram, Navratna Rajaram, my mentor, you will see they've really studied, they've really worked hard, they really went through the pain of dealing with people like Mr. Dr. late Dr. S.R. Rao, who actually discovered the Dwarika below the Gujarat pit, 5 meters below the sea, Bay of Cambay. So they associate themselves, they learn from these people, they understand the Sapta Sindhu civilization that existed thousands of years ago. They decipher. In fact, N.S. Rajaram and Natwar Jha were the first people to decipher the Indus Valley script. One of the first people, and they deciphered it correctly. Now, if you see, example, a historian like self-proclaimed historian like Mrs. Thapar. Okay, she says that I'm a linguist, but then you're not, because you have not correctly deciphered what is written in the Rig Vedas and in the ancient books. You have wrongly deciphered it, and you're passing on the knowledge. It's very political. It's very political because you are programmed and you're politically connected with the political party over the years, and it is very propaganda based, basically. So you got to learn from somebody who's not a propagandist, who's not connected to any political aims or missions or objectives, but who's just plainly passionate about understanding our ancient culture. And that was what Dr. Navratna Rajaram was, and Dr. David Frawley is. Not only he's a Padma Shri, but he is deciphered Rig Veda very well, and proves from his many books, that basically the true ancient knowledge rightly translated. And if you go to Ram Golji also, talking about the temples of India, that's volume 1 and 2. You will learn a lot about the temples which have been destroyed in our country. Thousands and lakhs of temples. It's just not Ayodhya, Ram Janmabhoomi temple, but a lot of temples have been destroyed over the years. So you get confidence when you know that you have knowledge of your past. Today somebody sits with me and explains and talks to me about this, I can counter that person or that lady, whoever that is. But before, when I was just a teen, that time I didn't have the knowledge, I couldn't counter. And in fact, I believe that Mahabharata and Ramayana at that time, when I was 16, 17, was a hoax. It never existed, never happened. Because this is what I had been taught. This is what I had been associated with the people, that it never happened. It was all just like that. How can people fly? How can people just use, nuclear weapons? And all this never existed. But when I went into it, I dwelled into it. I said, let me get the first-hand experience myself. And then I realized that all that existed. I was a fool, because without fire, there's no smoke. And you can make fool of a small amount of people for a long time. You can make a fool of a lot of people for a short time, but you can't make fool of a lot of people for a long time. You see, when I understood that, understanding that mindset, I understood the whole thing. That this it's been going on for years. How can you make so many people fools for millennia? How is that possible? Like the Hindu Holocaust, like you're talking about, that happened for at least 1200 years. Millions and millions of Hindus were destroyed and culled, and nothing's written about it. It's whitewashed. Totally. We all whitewash, and thanks to Mr. Chachaji, everything is whitewashed from our brains, We don't know anything. We know Mughal history and we know colonial Brit history. But how many people know how many times Somnath temple was attacked? Which kings defended it? How large the kingdom of Bharate was what was Kandhar, you know what was Gandhar? It was Gandhar, and that's how the Gandhari Kumari came from. That's where she came from, and Shakuni, the prince of Gandhar, came from. So how large Raja Porus's kingdom was. See, you see, so many things people don't know. They really, especially in the north, they really messed up. In south, still that ancient history is respected. The ancient history of Mahabalipuram, the ancient history of so many historical sites and temples today are preserved there, respected, honored. But in the north, they're not. So many temples have been destroyed because of invasions. We have been programmed so that, and the Aryan invasion theory also has messed up the brains of a lot of people here. A lot of people in the north believe that we come from the Aryan blood. They don't realize the Aryan blood is the Vedic Aryans, we itself. They didn't come from outside at all. It's got nothing to do. In fact, the Vedic Aryans went outside. We migrated, but there was no influx. Geographically, it's not possible from Europe. Indo-European people will be coming down through the mountains with chariots and horses and riding for days and days, crossing the massive mountains and of Hindu Kush and the mountains of whatnot to reach us. That's not possible. And then come and fight a massive war with with the natives living there, and then win that war. And then after that, write a Rig Veda right there. Write our ancient text like we are illiterate, So and how is that possible when you come and destroy the Harappan civilization, when you come and destroy remnants and architecture that already had existed? And then you write about it. How is that possible? You write about it later when it's already been, it already existed much before you came. The language existed, the people existed, the architecture existed, and in fact, British archaeologists have also written about it, that they found remnants of Hindu structures in the Indus Valley civilization, the empire, the whole kingdom, the ruins. They have found, on the tablets, all this existed. So it's got nothing to do with there's no Indo-European ruin anywhere. There's no proof. Give us the proof. Give us the proof. We will believe you with carbon dating. But there's nothing. But we've got the proof of carbon dating. We've got the armaments, the tablets, the statues. Everything is the altars. They're all there. They were there. The language itself, it's connected to our texts. It's nothing to do with anything else. So basically, whatever they have no proof for it. It's just a certain narrative that they have, ideology that they have propagated over the years for political reasons, nothing else, basically. So for that, we are paying for it as a country. Otherwise, a mass populated country like ours should have been proud of our culture and should have been the epitome of Hinduism. But I'm sorry to say, I'm afraid and I'm ashamed that it's not. There are other small countries that are epitome, and they're a bigger epitome of Hinduism than us, basically. Because we have a lot of leftist and secular, so-called seculars, who are fearful. So they basically affirm their fear and to make sure that their fear doesn't come true, or they get scared of it. That's the reason why, because of their fear, out of the fear motivation, they are spreading this lies, the deception, And the art of deception is what Dr. N.S. Rajaram talks about in his book, The Art of Deception. If you shall read that book, Ayodhya and the Art of Deception. It's just mind blowing the way he explains the whole dogma that has been uh, catered to us, which is programmed so falsely on us. So yeah, this is the reason why I got into this, and I said that this has to be spread, but in something, not in a way of lecturing anybody, but to share the knowledge so that people
Mhm.
you know uh, uh, can take it like a sponge, instead of get bored, basically.
Mm.
That's something. So
Yeah, exactly.
mhm.
Um, so that's great. That is, obviously there's many aspects there, and
Yeah, it's very large, it's very large, this whole topic. It's
mm,
massive.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's a big part of it is like, uh, that there are for example, right, there are many Christian countries and there are many Muslim countries and there are Buddhist countries and Jewish countries, and then you have one country with 1 billion Hindus and it's not a Hindu country.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the I would say the irony, you know, that not that I'm against with or against for any other community. No one
Mm.
is hating anybody here. No one is against anything. But the fact is just that we're just trying to claim what is ours. We're just trying to we should in fact uh, you know make people aware of and first of all make ourselves aware of what we are, and then only we can make other people aware and let them choose. That's the whole thing. If the truth you know comes out, then I'm sure people will understand, and they will understand the true meaning of Sanatam Dharma, and the true meaning of what Aryan is, and the true Aryanism will spread through this, not Hitler's Aryanism, because that was never an Aryanism. That was his concept taken by his professors and scientists from our ancient culture of Aryan, because Aryan itself means a certain title. It never meant a caste, it never meant a race or any kind of creed. So they've got it so wrong, the whole world, and they're just misinterpreting it, they messed it up. So basically, we feel ashamed or we get scared when we talk about, oh, Hindus. We get very, very scared. What will the other communities? We just want to appease everyone to make them feel happy. And oh, you don't feel bad? Ah, did you feel bad, sir? No, you felt bad. Sorry, I will change my name also for you. I will change
Yeah.
my God also for you. You shouldn't feel bad. But you don't have self-esteem for yourself. Don't you have a spine? You know. So what Modi ji is trying to show is he has a spine. That's why the country is stabilized. You can run a country when you have a spine, and you have to believe in something, otherwise you will fall for anything. You have to believe in some one thing, either you're left or you're right. You're not in between. Example, either you are pregnant or you're not pregnant. You can't be in between. There's no between. Something, there's some problem if a lady is in between. So you know what, same way, you either got to believe in this, that yes, this is the spine. You need to have the spine for our country, and you need to basically you know uh, mm, be proud of your nation. Again, going back to learning the right knowledge, understanding where they come from, and knowing what you should be proud of where you come from. You're not trying to degrade anybody, but you're just being proud of where you come from. That's all. You're just feeling prideful about that. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. The Israel is a proud nation. They take pride in their culture in ancient history, you know and we should also be taking pride from where we come from, where the name Bharat comes from. We should take pride in that. you know we're not degrading anybody. We're just being you know we just happy from where we come from. We should be proud of that. not ashamed of it. So I think this is mainly the whole West thought process, and the FB, Facebook, this is passing on this whole misinformation. That's why you see, according to the algorithms, you will only see what you are interested in because they take down your data. And the same way, they're showing other people, every different person is being shown what in accordance to his data, what they have collected. And the algorithm is showing exactly that. The AI is only showing exactly that. So every other person has a different facts. So now you're dealing with 100 different facts, not one fact. There's no unity. There's no understanding or compromise. And there can never be an understanding if there is a million facts and everybody has their own facts that they believe in. It becomes very tough. That's why that's why reading a book, or reading the right book, or the association, organization of spiritual association, that gets people to one focus, helps drive people towards the right cause, without fanatism, without extremism, without hurting anybody, having ethics, peacefully going towards that focus with firmness and a spine. That's what is needed in today's time. But what's happening is there's a spineless information that's passing and making people more spineless, because people are confused. There's so much of chaos. There's so much of anarchy. That's what they're creating. What the internet is doing is creating through Facebook is creating anarchy. Twitter, Facebook, all these social aggregators and platforms are creating anarchy through confusion. And it's even helping people. Like today we are able to communicate is because of technology and the internet, because of the tools, but we're using it the right way. But people don't know how to use the right way because they've not been taught what is the right way. So that right way will come is when you're in the right association. Two things: right association and the right books. These two things I believe in are the foundation and the basics. And we need to get back to the basics. In there also, in our ancient times, we had the association of the rishis, of our sages, and the right books, the scriptures, the shastras, the brahmanas, the puranas. We used to read all these, and learn them, and meditate, and from doing yoga to associating ourselves with sages and rishis. And that's exactly association and reading the right books. But then there was unity, because there was one knowledge, one universal knowledge. Like, for example, sir, you jump from a building in Bombay, and then you jump from a building in New York. You're going to go down. You're not going to go up. You're going to go down first, and then you're going to go up. Right? Am I right? That is the law of gravity. Universal law is everywhere the same. That cannot be changed. No matter how many miscalculated facts you go through on Facebook, that you will jump and you will go up. You will still fall. You will still fall down first. You will die first, and then you'll go up. Because for going up also, heaven or hell, whatever that concept that the West has taught us, heaven or hell, you need to die first. That's the whole concept. So for that is the universal law. You need to, for that, you need to get the right knowledge. I mean, what if somebody's giving you the wrong knowledge on Facebook? That's not what you do, and you never die, and nothing happens to you when you fall down. So people will go about just doing weird things because of that wrong information. You see, so information, the correct information, which is very scarce in today's time, it seldom today is shared, should be given by the right people. And the organizations for the right information is I think very scarce again. So that's the whole thing. Anyways, mine become very long, and I'm like turn into a seminar. I can see you you guys are looking a little sleepy,
No.
talking like that.
There's no sleepiness.
Okay.
There's no sleepiness.
Wonderful connecting with you, and
yeah, for sure. That's great. This the last comment I'd share, Aya, because you mentioned a few things, and the that is one of the things, right? So there's many aspects, many attacks against Sanatana Dharma. Lots of that truth is avoiding to be told. The Hindu narrative about the world itself is, extremely, attacked and suppressed, and even co-opted and distorted. And that is actually the Mahabharata at that time. The condition was that there was so much collective negativity on the planet, and so many of the collectively negative leaders had access to nuclear and destructive weapons, that the existence of the humanity and the planet was at risk. And so the grand narrative of Sanatana Hindu Dharma is Shambhavami Yuge Yuge, again and again, as the collective negativity of the humanity becomes too great, the pure incarnation lands in physical body again and again to liberate the humanity from the collective negativity, which is exactly what Sri Krishna did. He gathered all the negativity into one safe battlefield place, and in that one fell swoop allowed them to destroy themselves, because the planet was at risk of, and the existence was at risk of destroying itself. And so anyway, and so this is the grand narrative of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, that that the divine does embody itself again and again, as even you mentioned in rishis, and this is how the Shastra Pramana has come to our knowledge, and it's been lived again and again, passed on through generations, the Guru Sampradaya, Shankaracharya, etc. It's Sanatana Hindu Dharma is real, and as you mentioned, the falling has to happen first. That's Dharma, like right when the sun comes up in the morning, all the animals wake up and life wakes up. That's Dharma. When it goes down, when the sun goes down, the beings take rest. So these basic teachings, right, is it's proven sampradaya of liberation. So anyway, thank you so much for sharing such various aspects, and
I'm honored and grateful to be part of this platform and this video call today. So hope to be connected with you, with your esteemed organization in the future also. So would love
Great.
to talk.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to mention to everyone. The United Nations has set January 27th as International Holocaust Remembrance Day. So we're planning to have various discussions and sharings about the Hindu Holocaust, which by documentation has recorded over 400 million lives destroyed, and so it's something that there's a lot of intergenerational trauma that Hindus need to overcome, and part of that is just looking into it and allowing it to relieve itself. So we will be scheduling those things, and hopefully can also catch you, Aya, for a couple minutes at one time or another, possibly between meetings and travels and breaks, where you could pop in for a few minutes. So we'll see how it works out.
More than honored. Yes.
Great. Okay, well, thank you so much. We'll complete this session chanting a Purna mantra. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Bhagavat Shri Nityananda Paramashiva Parukarpanamastu. Om Nityanandam.